Hey guys, how you doing? Today we're going to be reviewing the newest Disney Animation Studios film, Raya and the Last Dragon. This film is about a warrior who is set out from birth to protect the soul of the last dying dragon. This dragon died, giving up her soul to protect the earth from this evil purple force, which, as we see it in the film, everything it touches it sets to stone, including this dragon's sisters and brothers. So she ends up sacrificing herself to save everyone in the future and at that time. So when this girl's father dies from this purple force that has come back from the humans arguing and fighting, she's set out on a quest to gather the parts of that soul to bring the dragon back and stop this evil once and for all. I've got to be honest, going into this film I was a little bit sceptical because the trailers didn't really do a lot for me. It looked very generic, very formulaic. The only thing I was interested in was the world that she lived in, the culture. Some of the action looked good, the CGI, as we should come to expect from Disney, looked amazing. And yeah, I wasn't expecting a lot from this film, and although I wasn't surprised by how good it was better than I originally thought. Is this going to be a Disney classic? No. I don't believe this film will stay at high standards such as Lion King, Aladdin, and films that Disney have done and proven that they can make masterpiece type films. This film isn't like that, but it is very enjoyable and a lot better than I originally thought it would be. Now let's get bad stuff out the way early on. I thought a lot of the stepping beats of the story were very cliche and have been done way too many times and done way better in the past that I can just allow it in this film. Yes, it can be done worse, but there are certain story elements and story beats and there's a lot of very forced scenes. And there's a scene right at the start where all of the cultures and all of the tribes of Earth come to have dinner, and on the way there, there's this daughter that ends up having a rivalry with Raya throughout the whole entire film, and we'll get to that later. But there's this scene where they both sit down, have known each other for about 2 minutes, and suddenly best friends, and then it's supposed to be this really surprising scene when the girl that Raya makes friends with turns her back on her for the stone. It's like we're watching this film. She's literally just told us in an exposition scene that she doesn't trust all these tribes coming together. She's thinking that they're coming to fight. So after speaking to this girl for 2 minutes and then her stabbing you in the back, this surprises you? Because it certainly didn't surprise any of the audience. It didn't surprise me. So that's just an example of stuff like that in the film, not always as in your face, sometimes very subtly, but there is definitely parts in this film that are very cliche, very forced, and just you can't ignore it. I also think some of the other side characters lacked any sort of charisma, real energy. There are some that were nice and they were fine. Every side character in this film is fine, but you don't get that. Like, Moana is a film on Moana. Yes, you can't always get The Rock as your main second character, but there was no one that elevated the story being a side character. The only one that I barely cared about, I didn't even care a lot about, was Raya, because she is our protagonist. So it's sad that they didn't really have any main side characters that we could connect with. I believe that is all the bad out of the way. Let's talk about the good, because there is a lot of good in this film, but it's just not the best good. It's not great, it's just, good parts of a Disney film that we've come to expect. So we'll start with the only sort of good things and we'll get to the best things in the film later on. So for me, the CGI is amazing. This isn't up there because it's very expectable from Disney at this point, and as we should expect, because Disney's budget and the amount of money they're making, they should be giving us high quality content. And they do. This CGI is stunning, almost photorealistic at points, And it's just crazy to me that it's that realistic these days, and it's just beautiful to look at. There are also many fighting scenes in this film, combat, and I thought it was actually handled very well. For an animated film, say you watch the first couple seasons of Star Wars Rebels, or even the first few seasons of the Clone Wars, the combat, although it was cool, looked very unrealistic. It was like the movements that they would make, you couldn't picture a real human being able physically to do those movements, which sort of made you unengaged in some of the fighting, or made you just have to accept that it's not going to be looking that realistic. But here it looked like real mocap suit work. It looks like proper ancient staff hand-to-hand combat, however you want to call it. It looked great. It looked very realistic, and it engaged me. There were certain camera angle shots that they used in the combat that was very different as well. That really added to the tension of the fight. Now, I'm gonna be honest. At first, the main dragon that Raya ends up bringing back with the stone, was very cringy. When they first brought her back and she was just set up to be this just stupid, cringy joke character that a lot of kids will find funny, but for adults and other people will just be annoyed and cringed out by her performance, I thought did better towards the end as we find out a bit of backstory about her character, which genuinely makes it more acceptable. Now, if you don't know, she was sort of, she didn't really fit in with the rest. However, all of the dragons that were brothers and sisters, and it's the theme of the movie, which is really good, when the high pressure situation was on and they were all forced to take it seriously, they came together as one, united, and figured out a solution, a way to solve the problem. And they trusted her with the stone to, get rid of this evil, which eventually we see happen again. And instead of all of the dragons coming together, we see all of the humans coming together at the end of the film. So it's a good bit of symmetry there, and I really like that in the film. I thought that was handled very well. And obviously, as I've just said, the dragon gets better as you go along. Now, I don't know if this is the main thing I enjoyed in the film, but I've left it for last. I really like the soundtrack. Now, a lot of animated Disney films are known for their musical numbers, their actual songs. Now, this is very ballsy from Disney. As an animated Disney film, this doesn't have any original songs in it. This isn't that sort of film. This is a purely story-based film, which I like that they've switched that up. And the actual score, the musical score in the background, is just amazing. It was really good, really cultural, and even in the battle scenes, they switched it up, made it more intense, and it even added an extra element of engagement for the viewer in these fight scenes. It made the stakes seem higher, it made tensions build. It was just really, really well used. So yeah, obviously this is not one of Disney's best films. It really isn't that ambitious. It really isn't that grand. The story isn't that good. It's not good enough to be that sort of film. Even the characters aren't, not even our main character. However, that does not make this a bad film. Overall, I enjoyed this film. It's a great Disney film that switches up the formula. However, some of the story parts, some of the side characters, and some of the forced moments overall drag it down. So I will be giving Raya and the Last Dragon a 7 out of 10. Definitely not bad, but nowhere near Disney's high quality of films. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye guys.